What if the movies that built John Wayne were not the ones Hollywood kept showing you? What if some of his boldest, strangest, and most revealing westerns were quietly pushed aside because they did not fit the legend yet? Right in the middle of his rise, Wayne made films that studios stopped talking about. Halfway through this list, something shifts. The myth cracks a little, and once you notice it, you cannot unsee it. Number 13, The Big Trail, 1930. This is the movie that should have made John Wayne a star overnight. Instead, it almost erased him. Released in 1930, The Big Trail was massive in scale. Real wagons, real distances, real exhaustion on faces that were not acting. Wayne was young, broad-shouldered, and raw. He did not yet have the polished confidence of later years, but that is exactly what makes this performance fascinating. He feels untested, alert, like a man stepping into responsibility before he fully understands it. The film was shot in an early widescreen format that most theaters could not even show properly. That technical gamble buried it. Audiences saw cropped versions that flattened its ambition. Critics shrugged, studios panicked, and Wayne paid the price by being sent back to low-budget westerns for nearly a decade. But watch it now and you see something different. You see Hollywood reaching too far too early. You see Wayne learning how stillness can carry authority. You see landscapes that dwarf people, reminding you how small survival really is. This was not a failure of storytelling, it was bad timing. Hollywood moved on, Wayne never forgot it. And once you see The Big Trail as it was meant to be seen, you realize this was the beginning that history refused to credit. Number 12, Randy Rides Alone, 1934. This one is lean, quiet, and surprisingly tense. Released in 1934, Randy Rides Alone strips the Western down to its bones. John Wayne plays a drifter walking into a bad situation with no allies and no safety net. The setting is tight. A small town, a few suspicious faces, conversations that feel loaded even when nothing is said outright. Wayne does not dominate this movie through action. He dominates through presence. He listens more than he speaks. He watches people. You can feel him calculating. That restraint gives the story weight far beyond its modest budget. What makes this film stand out is its mood. There is a sense that fairness is fragile here, that truth can be bent by whoever speaks loudest. Wayne's character survives by staying calm while everything around him tightens. Hollywood buried this one by labeling it disposable. Another quick western, another filler title, but it quietly shaped the kind of screen confidence Wayne would later master. This is where he learned that power does not always come from movement. Randy Rides Alone is not flashy. It is patient, and that patience makes it one of the most revealing early performances Wayne ever gave. Number 11, The Star Packer, 1934. This movie moves fast, but its ideas linger. Released in 1934, The Star Packer places John Wayne inside a world where appearances matter more than honesty. He plays a lawman working in the shadows, navigating corruption with a calm smile and a sharp eye. The story does not waste time explaining itself. It trusts you to keep up. What makes this film unusual is how modern it feels. Authority is questioned, loyalty is uncertain. Wayne's character understands that justice is not always clean. That awareness adds an edge you do not expect from a short early western. The pacing is brisk, but Wayne never rushes. He holds his ground in scenes that could have been played broadly. Instead, he lets silence do the work. You can see him experimenting with control, testing how little he needs to do to command a scene. Hollywood buried The Star Packer because it was too sharp for its own category, too serious to be dismissed, too small to be celebrated, but it helped Wayne sharpen his screen instincts. This is a turning point performance hiding in plain sight, and once you notice how confident he already is here, the later legend starts to make more sense. Number 10, Sagebrush Trail, 1933. There is a quiet sadness running through this film that most people miss. Released in 1933, Sagebrush Trail gives Wayne a character shaped by loss and isolation. He is not chasing glory, he is clearing his name. The story unfolds with a steady seriousness that feels heavier than its runtime suggests. Wayne plays this role with surprising softness. He is alert but not aggressive, determined but not loud. The emotional center of the film rests on restraint. That choice gives the story weight and makes its resolution feel earned rather than forced. This Western was easy for studios to ignore because it did not shout. It did not rely on spectacle. but that is exactly why it matters. You can see Wayne learning how vulnerability can strengthen a character instead of weakening him. Hollywood wanted louder heroes. Sagebrush Trail offered a thoughtful one, so it slipped through the cracks. Revisiting it now feels like finding a missing page in Wayne's early development. It shows how he learned to balance strength with reflection, and that balance would define his greatest work. Number 9, Westward Ho, 1935. This one feels different from the start. Released in 1935, Westward Ho places John Wayne inside an ensemble rather than at the center. He shares the screen, shares the momentum, and adapts his presence accordingly. Instead of overpowering scenes, he blends into them. That choice makes this film fascinating. Wayne listens, he reacts. He supports the story rather than steering it. You can see him learning how to operate within a group without losing authority. The tone is lighter, but the craftsmanship is solid. Relationships matter. Trust is built gradually. The film values cooperation over domination. That theme runs quietly beneath the surface. Hollywood buried Westward Ho because it did not match the image they were building. Wayne was supposed to stand alone. This movie showed him working as part of something bigger, and that makes it essential viewing. It reveals a side of Wayne rarely discussed, a performer willing to adjust, willing to share space, willing to grow. Sometimes what gets buried is not weakness, it is complexity. Number 8, The Lawless Nineties, 1936. This is one of those John Wayne Westerns that feels sharper than its reputation ever allowed. Released in 1936, The Lawless Nineties drops Wayne into a role built on disguise and patience. He plays an undercover figure moving through a world where loyalty shifts quickly and trust is a risk. The film moves briskly, but beneath that speed is a surprisingly thoughtful structure. Wayne does not charge through this story. He studies it. He listens. His character understands that blending in is sometimes more powerful than standing out. That awareness gives the performance a controlled tension that feels ahead of its time. What makes this movie stand out is how it questions appearances. People are not what they claim. Authority is not always earned. Wayne's calm presence becomes the stabilizing force in a landscape full of uncertainty. Hollywood buried this film by treating it as routine, but it quietly helped Wayne refine his ability to project confidence without dominance. You can see him learning how to let intelligence guide the character instead of muscle. This is not a loud Western, it is a careful one, and that care makes it far more interesting than history remembers. Number 7, The Lonely Trail, 1936. This is a Western built on identity and restraint. Released in 1936, The Lonely Trail gives John Wayne a rare double role. He plays two related figures, each shaped by different choices. The film uses this device not as a gimmick, but as a way to explore how circumstance changes a man. Wayne handles the contrast with subtle shifts. One role carries authority and composure, the other holds uncertainty and pressure. He never exaggerates the differences. He lets posture, timing, and silence do the work. The story moves steadily, but the emotional undercurrent is what lingers. This is a film about stepping into responsibility before feeling ready, about wearing a name that carries weight whether you want it or not. Hollywood largely ignored this Western because it asked more from its audience. It was not content with surface action alone. It wanted attention. It wanted engagement. Looking back, The Lonely Trail feels like a rehearsal for Wayne's later moral conflicts on screen. It shows him practicing depth at a time when studios only wanted speed. Number 6, Riders of Destiny, 1933. This is the film Hollywood pretended never happened. Released in 1933, Riders of Destiny features John Wayne in a role studios quickly tried to erase. He sings, casually, naturally, not as a novelty, but as part of the character's rhythm. That single choice made executives nervous. The story itself is straightforward. A drifting figure arrives in a troubled place and brings order through quiet resolve. Wayne plays it with ease, confident, relaxed, fully in control of the screen. But the singing did not fit the image Hollywood wanted to sell, so the film was quietly pushed aside. Later releases downplayed it, discussions avoided it. What survives now is a fascinating snapshot of a path not taken. Wayne showing versatility, Wayne experimenting, Wayne not yet boxed into a single definition of strength. Riders of Destiny matters because it proves the legend was not inevitable. It was curated. This film reminds you that Wayne could have become something broader if studios had allowed it. Instead, they buried it, and in doing so, they buried an entire alternate version of his career. Number 5, Tall in the Saddle, 1944. This is a Western wrapped in suspicion. Released in 1944, Tall in the Saddle arrives during a turning point in Wayne's career. He is already a star, but this film chooses unease over triumph. From the opening moments, something feels off. Smiles hide motives. Trust is provisional. Wayne plays his role with a controlled edge. He does not rush to judgment. He does not overplay confidence. He lets tension build naturally. That restraint gives the film a mature tone that separates it from standard Western fare. The story centers on land, power, and quiet manipulation. Wayne's character walks carefully, aware that words can be more dangerous than action. That awareness makes every conversation feel weighted. Hollywood did not know how to market a Western that leaned this heavily into uncertainty. It was overshadowed by louder, cleaner narratives. But Tall in the Saddle holds up because it treats intelligence as strength. It shows Wayne at his most thoughtful, and that makes it one of his most underrated performances. Number 4, Angel and the Badman, 1947. This is the Western where John Wayne slows down. Released in 1947, Angel and the Badman places Wayne in unfamiliar emotional territory. He plays a weary figure taken in by kindness rather than force. The story unfolds gently, almost deliberately, allowing reflection to replace confrontation. Wayne adjusts beautifully. His performance is softer, his movements measured, his voice calmer. He allows vulnerability to surface without weakening the character. The film focuses on change, on the idea that strength can be redirected rather than abandoned. That theme made the movie difficult to categorize at the time. It did not fit the hardened image Hollywood preferred, so it faded quietly. But revisiting it now feels revelatory. This is Wayne showing emotional range rarely acknowledged. It proves he could carry a film without relying on dominance. Angel and the Badman is not about redemption in grand terms. It is about pause. And sometimes that is the bravest thing a legend can do. Number 3, The Fighting Kentuckian, 1949. This is one of John Wayne's most overlooked performances because it does not feel like a typical Western at all. Released in 1949, The Fighting Kentuckian is set in early frontier America, where the rules are still being written and authority feels unstable. Wayne plays a man caught between loyalty, land disputes, and a rapidly changing society. He is not the loudest presence in the room. He is the steadiest. What makes this film stand out is its sense of transition. The frontier is no longer wild, but it is not settled either. Wayne's character reflects that uncertainty. He carries confidence, but it is cautious. He understands that force alone will not solve every problem. Wayne adjusts his performance to match the setting. His movements are slower, his reactions more measured. He allows the environment and the people around him to shape the story rather than dominate it. Hollywood struggled to place this film. It was not flashy enough to promote heavily and not familiar enough to become a staple, so it slipped out of conversation. But The Fighting Kentuckian deserves attention because it shows Wayne evolving. This is a man learning that leadership is not just about standing tall. Sometimes it is about knowing when to step aside. Number 2, Hondo, 1953. This is the John Wayne Western that people remember without fully appreciating. Released in 1953, Hondo presents Wayne as a figure shaped by isolation. He is not charming, he is not welcoming, he is capable, reserved, and deeply observant. The performance feels stripped down, almost elemental. Wayne speaks less here, but every pause carries meaning. He watches people before trusting them. He understands the land better than the words spoken about it. That awareness gives the film its quiet power. What makes Hondo special is how it balances toughness with empathy. Wayne's character is firm, but not cruel, protective, but not controlling. That balance makes the story feel grounded rather than theatrical. Hollywood celebrated the image, but moved past the nuance. Hondo became a symbol rather than a study. Over time, the subtleties faded from discussion. Revisiting it now reveals one of Wayne's most controlled performances. This is not a man proving himself. This is a man who already knows who he is, and that certainty makes the film resonate far beyond its era. Number 1, The Comancheros, 1961. This is the Western that quietly marked the end of an era. Released in 1961, The Comancheros arrived at a moment when audiences were changing and the genre was shifting. Wayne was older, the stories were rougher, the certainty of earlier Westerns was beginning to fade. Wayne plays the role with seasoned confidence. He knows the terrain, he knows the people, but there is a weariness beneath the surface, a sense that the world he understands is slowly moving on. The film blends traditional adventure with a harsher tone, Relationships feel transactional. Trust is temporary. Wayne's presence holds the story together, even as everything around him feels unstable. Hollywood treated this as just another late-career Western, but it deserves more than that. This is Wayne standing at the edge of change, carrying the weight of decades on screen. The Comancheros matters because it shows the legend adapting instead of repeating himself. It is not a farewell, it is a transition, and that makes it the perfect closing chapter for this list. So now the question comes back to you. How many John Wayne Westerns were you told mattered, and how many were quietly set aside? These films were not forgotten because they failed. They were forgotten because they complicated the legend. If one of these surprised you, say it out loud in the comments. Share this with someone who thinks they know the full story. And remember, history is not always written by the best moments. Sometimes it is shaped by what gets ignored.